Out at Comalander Stadium early this morning, the Johnson Jaguars were taking on another undefeated district foe in the Churchill Chargers. Only one can remain perfect. Johnson QB Ty Hawkins eyeing the end zone. King Johnson makes the catch over the defender's head for a touchdown. Later in the drive, Hawkins trying to find someone open, then decides to just take off. No one's gonna catch him. Turns into a 55-yard rushing touchdown, and Johnson stays undefeated as they win it 33-9. Staying in the same district but down the street at Hero Stadium, the Madison Mavericks were fired up for their showdown against the Roosevelt Rough Riders. We pick up the action in the second half. On 3rd and 1, the Mavericks go to the ground, but Josiah Ali shuts down the lane and waves his fingers saying no, no, no. On the ensuing drive, the Rough Riders hand it off to Brennan Carroll, who finds some space to the outside, and he is gone. A 65-yard touchdown run to put Roosevelt up 28-14 in the third quarter, and Roosevelt hangs on to win this Week 4 matchup 28-24. To the night slate now, another matchup of undefeated teams looking to go 2-0 in district play. The John Jay Mustangs stampeding onto the field, followed by the Warriors of Warren High, who had a loud group of fans behind them. John Jay striking early. QB Jackson Gutierrez finds Dylan Gordon, who makes a few defenders miss and gets in for the touchdown. Then the Mustangs go for 2. Gutierrez finds an opening and trots his way in as John Jay would go on to win it 30-14. Over at Alamo Stadium, the Jefferson Mustangs were in full control of their district showdown against the winless Brackenridge Eagles just before halftime. The Mustangs going to the ground game. Daniel Ariza rumbles and tumbles down to the 1-yard line. So why not give it to Ariza in the end zone? A little leap from the senior will do the trick. Jefferson dominated this game, bouncing back from a loss to San Houston with a 55-7 victory. Other finals from the Saturday high school football slate. Seguin tops Kyle Lehman 55-30. Buda Hayes defeats MacArthur 28-14. And Marshall and Clark went to overtime tied at 28, and that's where Clark won it 36-28. Texas A&M trying to regroup from last week's 48-33 thumping by the then unranked Miami Hurricanes. Leave it to Connor Wigman to spearhead the bounce-back effort. Wigman threw for 337 yards and a touchdown, plus that rushing TD you just saw to lead the Aggies to a 47-3 rout of Louisiana Monroe. But really, scoring came from all over. The group effort improves Texas A&M to 2-1 on the season. Next, the Aggies host Auburn. Baylor earned a much-needed victory to end a 6-game losing streak after defeating FCS member Long Island University 30-7. Next, the Bears play number 4, Texas. And speaking of FCS, UIW on the road for a meeting with Abilene Christian. UIW wins it 27-20. Later in the Nightbeat, 4th-ranked Texas and Wyoming battle it out in Austin. The Longhorns with momentum on their side coming off of last week's win over Alabama.
Kind of seemed like Texas was asleep for most of that game after that big win
Yes.
against the Tide there, but they woke up.
Yes, just like.
Good stuff. Thanks for that, Mary.
Coming up, a popular Asian diner with a history of high scores found itself in some hot water. We go behind the kitchen door to find out what made them temporarily shut down. A roach problem and no hot water. Those things forced a popular Asian diner with a history of high scores to temporarily shut down. And when the night team's Tim Gerber went behind their kitchen door, he found it had new management.
Payway Asian Diner, located in the 900 block of East Basse, was shut down by a health inspector in late July following a routine inspection. The big problems? The business had no hot water and an infestation of roaches. There were roaches found on food contact surfaces, on utensils, and to-go plates. In addition to that, the interior of the ice machine was soiled, and the walls, floors, and ceilings were dirty. The inspector gave them an 84 and told them to contact the health department for reopening when those issues were corrected. I stopped by this week to ask some questions.
How long were they closed down, do you know?
1 week.
Manager Cover Hernandez said he wasn't working at the location at the time of the inspection, but it's definitely why he's working there now.
I was brought into this restaurant after that issue to help with all the cleaning up and all that. It's all been taken care of. We haven't seen a road there probably since we opened back up 4 weeks ago.
Tijin China Diner, located in the 100 block of Southwest Loop 410, comes in with a 79. Raw meat in a cooler was way too warm at 71. Meanwhile, a cold hold unit was also too warm, and so was all the food inside. A container of lettuce was on the floor of the walk-in cooler. They were told to stop using unapproved chemicals for pest control, and they needed to do a deep cleaning of the wall next to the grill to remove grease buildup. Spice Grill and Bar, located at 2020 Broadway downtown, earned a 74. They had to toss out foods that were in a reach-in cold hold unit that was too warm. None of the employees had food handler certificates. There were dead roaches in a storage area. The business told to clean the inside of the reach-in coolers and fix missing tiles on the walls and ceiling in the kitchen. For Behind the Kitchen Door, Tim Gerber, KSAT 12 News.
And the son of Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman has been extradited from Mexico to the U.S. to face drug trafficking charges. Attorney General Merrick Garland said it's the latest move in an effort to attack every aspect of the cartel's operation. This comes just days after El Chapo's wife was released from a U.S. prison after serving nearly 2 years on drug trafficking and money laundering charges.
And a child is dead and 3 more are in the hospital after being exposed to opioids at a home daycare in the Bronx. Police say they found 3 children unconscious when they got to the scene Friday afternoon and administered Narcan in an attempt to revive them. A 1-year-old boy died, but a 2-year-old boy and an 8-month-old girl survived. Another 2-year-old boy was taken home from the daycare earlier in the day and was found unresponsive by his mother. He was given Narcan at a nearby hospital, which police say saved his life. The daycare was inspected less than a week ago and no issues were found, but police did find a kilo press inside the daycare during their investigation.
All right, he's a small horse that's making a big difference here in South Texas. We'll show you how next on the Nightbeat. And we want to get you out to some late breaking news on the northwest side. A murder suspect is in police custody right now after shots were fired inside a Walmart.
Avery Everett is joining us live from the scene. And Avery, what do we know right now?
Well, we've been out here for about an hour. We know that suspect is at University Hospital. We're told he's in stable condition with a gunshot wound to his shoulder. That's because he was involved in gunshots with a Bandera County deputy when he brought a gun inside that Walmart behind me. Now, we were told that he was a suspect for murder, and it happened after a chase. He ended up here in this Walmart parking lot. Now, when he took that gun inside, he did shoot around, but it didn't injure anyone. SAPD, who was here at the scene just a couple of minutes ago, told us they were able to get everyone who was inside that Walmart outside and safe. We saw a couple of Walmart employees, more like a dozen actually, come out into the parking lot. They since have returned back to the store. But we talked to some witnesses here who said they heard many gunshots. Here's what they had to say.
Gunshots. There were shots fired. Came back outside, and yeah, I counted at least 20 cop cars.
SAPD tells us that this scene is stable, but it is still an active investigation. We've talked to many people coming here asking if they can go inside of Walmart. The answer right now is no. As soon as we learn more about what happened here and the condition of that suspect, we'll keep you updated on KSAT.com. Reporting live, I'm Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
A very hectic scene. Thanks for staying on top of that, Avery. Now shifting gears to something a little bit lighter. Take a look at this little guy right here. Well, you see his leg right there, but there he is. His name's Gus, and standing at just 3 feet tall, he's a miniature horse making a big difference. Originally, nobody wanted Gus, but now, not only does he have a home, but also a purpose, helping those with special needs at Hope Reigns in Texas.
Good. Whoopsie. That's okay.
You may not realize it, but you're watching a young lady make progress one step at a time with a little help from a miniature horse.
Yeah, Gus is a friendly little guy. He has never met a stranger. And that's one amazing thing about him that we love, is really lights up everybody's world when they meet him.
Gus is one of the newest team members at Hope Reigns of Texas, providing hippotherapy, meaning physical, occupational, or speech therapy with the help of a horse. He joined the nonprofit in May of 2022, and he's already becoming a fan favorite.
Yes, like Gus! It's like Gus!
Gus and the other horses at Hope Reigns of Texas work with children and adults who have special needs, as well as wounded warriors.
And they're also having to find their balance. So their sensory, their neuromotor, their cognitive systems all having to work together while they're on top of this horse.
Gus is too small to ride, but he offers therapy in other ways.
So for us, I mean, you know, we can pinch that nice and easy, slip it on right there, and easy peasy. Braiding hair, clipping on these little bows, all that's working on their fine motor.
And his stature is a strength when easing people into the world of horses.
Very unique because his size is lovable. It's just, he makes you know it's okay to be little bitty.
With all the love Gus gets now, it's hard to imagine that at one point, nobody wanted him. Until Kyle Hackley rescued him from a Florida ranch and brought him to stay at Hope Reigns in Bulverde.
I looked in those big brown eyes, and I knew right then he was extraordinarily special.
Now he provides care, calm, and companionship for those facing challenges.
I think he likes people more than other horses sometimes. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
Man, that's just one of those stories that warms your heart. And Gus is so adorable. Can we talk about that? Way to go, JP. That was a great story. All right, look outside with City Cam again. Temperatures right now in the upper 70s and low 80s here in San Antonio. Let's get you a look at the almanac data for today. Our average low temperature is about 70 degrees. We started at 74, so a little bit warmer than average. And that was the same story for our daytime high, topping off at 94. Of course, if you managed to tap into some of the rain that we had earlier this afternoon, especially up into the hill country, we only had high temperatures in the 80s for places like Kerrville, stretching over to Rock Springs. But of course, the farther south that you were able to travel didn't see a whole lot of rain out that way. So afternoon highs, of course, were noticeably hotter in the upper 90s and even a few triple digits, especially down there in Cotulla. Again, right now, cooling nicely, upper 70s, low 80s out there. We're going to start off tomorrow morning in the low 70s before some more 90s take us into next week. We'll get you a look at that, a few more rain stats, and also a check at the tropics after the break. Well, so like the rain out there? For some who got it?
I did, and I'll be completely honest, I thought we were going straight to you. I was like, oh, well, nice to see myself on.
They've been dealing with a lot this evening.
We got a very busy
lot going on.
Right,
yeah,
we're trying to bring you the latest, so you know.
Of course, yeah, it's been a very busy Saturday night. It's been a busy past couple of days in the weather department, just kind of monitoring this messy weather pattern that we've been in, right, for us here in South Central Texas. Again, not everybody tapped into the rain earlier today, but check out this photo that was sent into KSAT Connect from Green. A little over an inch of rain recorded as we saw the tail end of those storms move in earlier this afternoon. Not too shabby, but of course we missed out, unfortunately, in San Antonio. 0.42 is what we've seen since September 1st here in town. We're about an inch and a half below where we should be, a little over that. Since the first of the year, over 14 inches of rain, but again, about 8.5 inches below where we need to be when you look at the climatological averages and things of that nature. And we're really not looking at any notable significant rain chances looking ahead to the upcoming work week, unfortunately. So maybe as we head into the following week, we'll be able to monitor for a few more changes. But that does include your Sunday. It is looking to be a mainly dry day here in San Antonio. We're going to start off in the low 70s by about 7 a.m. By lunchtime, plenty of sunshine takes back back over. A temperature of about 86 degrees, 90 already by 2 p.m. and we've got that forecast high pointed around 92 to maybe 93 here in San Antonio. A little bit hotter across our far southern counties, 95 that forecast high in Pleasanton tomorrow. But yes, a little bit cooler across the higher elevations, some 80s for Kerrville, stretching over to Rock Springs, 94 the forecast high tomorrow in Del Rio, and 92 in Eagle Pass. And you can see that trend is just going to continue each and every afternoon, maybe even building by a couple of degrees, especially by Wednesday and into Thursday. And that's all thanks to this high pressure system that's currently anchored farther off to our south as well as our west in the upper levels of the atmosphere. That's going to slowly work its way farther eastward over the next few days, which is why those rain chances are expected to drop off. And speaking of dropping off those rain chances, you can see that besides just a little bit of rain south of Corpus Christi, for most of the state of Texas, we're pretty quiet. Some more rain, though, across the eastern half of the lower 48. But check out portions of Maine stretching over to Nova Scotia. Plenty of rain this Saturday night. That is associated with post-tropical cyclone Lee that was a hurricane out in the western Atlantic. That's going to continue working away from the United States in the coming days. Elsewhere out there in the Atlantic basin, we've got Tropical Storm Margot and recently formed Tropical Storm Nigel, and another low chance of development with a tropical wave that's expected to come off the western coast of Africa over the next 7 days. No issues for us here in south central Texas, but we'll continue to monitor it. Until then, it is still going to be warm as we head into next week with highs in the 90s. Not too bad in the mornings, though, low 70s. But we could still use some rain, so we'll continue to watch out for that as well, guys.
Thank you, Mia.
No triple digits, I'll take that.
Yes.
All right, Mary, our UTSA Roadrunners are limping into a new week of practice, both figuratively and literally.
Yeah, we saw some injuries. We'll talk more about those. And yesterday, UTSA falling to Army inside of the Alamo Dome. The Roadrunners' schedule only gets more difficult from here. Plus, the Longhorns are back home in Austin for a matchup with Wyoming. Number 4 Texas bringing the momentum of a 34-24 win at Alabama into week 3 in a battle with undefeated Wyoming. It would be the Cowboys who strike first, handing it off to Harrison Whaley, who finds a lane and turns on the burners for a 62-yard rushing touchdown. The Longhorns respond with their own running game, but wait. It's a fake. Quinn Ewers finds Byron Murphy II, a defensive lineman touchdown. Who doesn't love that? Then in a tie game in the fourth quarter, Ewers swings it out to Xavier Worthy, and good luck catching him. It's a 44-yard trip to pay dirt as Texas goes on to win 31-10. The UTSA Roadrunners own a 1-2 record through week 3 of the college football season. This is the guy, quarterback Eddie Lee Marburger, who got his first collegiate start in place of an injured Frank Harris when Army visited the Alamo Dome yesterday. Marburger passed for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns, although the difference was the Black Knights dominated time of possession and racked up 254 rushing yards on 65 attempts to defeat UTSA 37-29. The road from here only gets more challenging for the Roadrunners.
We got Tennessee next week. We got an open week the next week. When we go to Temple, we're going to be 0-0. And America's going to write us off because we ain't a very good football team right now. So we'll be a pissed off, healthy football team when we go to Philadelphia, we hope.
Head coach Jeff Traylor plenty frustrated after the loss. We don't know when Harris will be back under center, but hopefully in time for next week's showdown against 11th ranked Tennessee of the SEC. The Volunteers were upset today 29-16 to the Florida Gators. Cleveland handed the Texas Rangers a 12-3 loss in yesterday's series opener. A closer game today, tied at 1, bottom of the 8th. Stephen Kwan hits a line drive to left field. Bo Naylor comes home, and that'll prove to be the game winner. Cleveland wins 2-1. The Rangers remain in the second AL wildcard position. And by the way, third baseman Josh Young is on track to be activated when the team returns home on Monday for a series with Boston. The Houston Astros also trying to bounce back from their series opening loss to KC. Houston trailed 3-0 until the Astros made it a one-run game in the 5th inning, but the Royals kept the runs coming as KC wins 10-8. Houston will try to avoid the series sweep tomorrow at 1:10.
Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys expected to see old nemesis Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets in their home opener. Instead, it'll be Zach Wilson after Rodgers tore his Achilles tendon 4 snaps into his Jets debut. The Cowboys may be without tackle Tyler Smith and safety Donovan Wilson, who are both listed as doubtful for tomorrow's game. Guard Zach Martin and wideout Brandon Cooks remain questionable. Dallas coming off of a 40-0 rout of the Giants. The Jets also won their season opener, so we'll see who can stay in the win column when the two kick off at 3:25.
After that statement game in week 1, definitely excited to see what the Cowboys can do in week 2.
Yes.
All right, we'll be right back.
All right, 78 degrees out there in San Antonio right now. A little bit of a breeze, winds out of the north at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. We have seen some higher gusts out there this evening. As we head into our Sunday, starting off in the low 70s, a little bit more sunshine. It will be a drier day and a high temperature around 92 degrees here in town. High pressure takes over next week. Not a whole lot in terms of rain, and those temperatures will continue to stay in the 90s, guys.
Thanks for that, Mia. And a busy night for law enforcement. We told you about the shooting on the northwest side at a Walmart. Now there's another one happening on the south side on the 3100 block of Roosevelt Avenue.
And be sure to catch the latest details on that shooting on Good Morning San Antonio tomorrow. And that's starting at 6, and that's all for now.
Thanks for joining us, guys.